The goal of this video is to teach you how to turn an outline into an essay. So this video is called Draft Your Essay. You are ready for this video if you have a completed outline with your position statement, your claims, and your evidence, and you're trying to figure out how to turn that into an essay. In earlier videos, you built a pro-con chart to build a position statement. You thought about reasons for or against something, and then you decided what you were going to write. So for this one example, it was about chocolate milk, and people were thinking about why we should serve chocolate milk at school every day, and then also why we shouldn't. And after looking at these big claim ideas, we decided we were going to write, schools should not serve chocolate milk every day, and then we listed those claims. Because kids drink it too much, it has a lot of sugar, and it can cause diseases. After we figured out the position statement, we built an outline. So we wrote our position statement at the top so we remember what it is we're trying to say. We wrote the 3 claims and spaced them out so there was room to put evidence. And then we went back into the sources to look for evidence that would support that claim. So on the next slide, I'm going to walk you through how to take an outline like this, only finished, how to take an outline and start drafting. On the next slide, I'm using a different outline. I'm using one that I was writing about reptiles. So it's not about chocolate milk anymore, but it's the same strategy. I'm going to show you how you could take your outline with whatever it's about and draft it like a persuasive or an opinion essay. So in order to draft my essay and make it clear to you who's watching this video what it is I'm up to, I've used the split screen strategy. So on the left-hand side here, I have the notes page that you have in your writing notes about how to draft. And then on the right-hand side, I have my Word document. So you can see how I'm building my essay piece by piece. For most of you, you won't have a split screen. For most of you, you'll have your notes paper where you've you'll have your outline where you've handwritten the position statement and the claims and the evidence you're going to use, and then you'll be typing full screen on your computer. There are a couple of you who are using a digital notes, and that's fine too for your outline, but for most of us, you'll have a Word document up on your computer, and then you'll have your handwritten outline paper next to you. Since I need to show you my outline, and since my outline comes from our notes page, I have that over here on the left-hand side. And then on the right-hand side, I'll be typing. All right, so we're ready to draft. And looking over here, I can see that I need to start with, and let me get my drawing tool ready. I need to start here in my introduction. That's the first job, is we're in the introduction. And the introduction has 2 parts. 1, I have to have a hook, and 2, I have a position statement. So that's my first job. So I can come over here into my draft, and I'm going to think, okay, introduction. And I have these different strategies that we've practiced, so you can think about which one you're going to use. I think I'm going to use that imagine strategy, that snapshot. I want my reader to imagine something. So I think about it, and I start typing, and I put in my hook. So my hook says, close your eyes and imagine the perfect pet. Are you imagining a furry dog, a soft kitten, or even a fuzzy hamster? Chances are you never even considered that the perfect pet might have scales instead of fur. You might find it surprising, but reptiles make excellent pets. So that's my hook. It's all just kind of getting my reader interested in this idea of reptiles as pets. After I do my hook, the next part of my introduction is my position statement. That's where I'm going to tell my reader what I believe and the claims that back that up. Oops. There we go. All right, so this is my position statement here. In fact, reptiles are the best choice for a pet because reptiles are less likely to cause damage to your home, because reptiles can be inexpensive to care for, and because reptiles bond with humans just like more typical pets do. So here I've told my reader what I believe. I believe that reptiles make great pets, and I've told them the 3 claims that I'm using to support that position. My claims are they're not going to mess up your house, they're inexpensive to care for, and they bond with people. So once I've got that, I'm done with my introduction. So I can come back over here, and in my brain I'm like, yes, introduction done, check. And it's time to move here into my body paragraphs. My body paragraphs are going to be based on my outline. I already did the hard work of planning my claims and finding evidence that works. The big idea here is that as I'm writing, I don't have to imagine a new claim. I already have a claim. And as I'm writing, I don't have to go looking for evidence. I already have evidence. Here's a piece of evidence, and here's a piece of evidence, and here's another piece of evidence. This one's really long. So I already have my claim, and I already have my evidence. And off to the side, I've even written myself a little note. Each body paragraph has a claim and evidence, evidence, evidence. The big idea here is that as I'm drafting, I'm going to be adding in something. Now the claim I've already planned out. I figured that out based on the sources. The evidence comes right from the sources. I already found it. Oops. All I had to do was come up with the ideas on my own. No, I'm sorry. For my evidence, all I had to do was go looking through the sources to find evidence that would work. The big difference is now that I'm ready to draft, I need to add reasoning. Reasoning is not in my outline. I didn't plan out my reasoning yet. As I'm drafting, I'm going to start adding that reasoning in on my own. I'm going to figure out how I want to tell my reader why my evidence is important. So let me come back into my draft here and show you what I mean. So first, I need to tell my claim, since I said over here, each body paragraph starts with a claim. So here's my claim. One reason why reptiles make the perfect pet is because they are very unlikely to cause damage to homes. And you can see that came right from my outline. That was my claim. I just fancied it up with this one reason why reptiles make the perfect pet. I'm reminding the reader of my position. Now I can see here after my claim, I need to give my first piece of evidence, which is they live in a vivarium. So I'm going to do that. Most common pet reptiles spend the majority of their time in a vivarium or glass cage, source 1. So that's my evidence. It came right from my outline. I just rewrote it in my own words. Now it's time for this last piece. It's time for my reasoning. That's not on my outline. That's coming from my own brain. I need to think, what is it I want to say? So for my reasoning, I thought I want to tell my reader that because they live in that glass case, they're not going to be loose in your house to mess it up. That connects back to my claim that reptiles aren't messing up your house. So I'm going to use my own words to basically explain it to my reader. They might say, how does living in a glass cage help keep my house clean? I need to explain it so they understand my thinking. So this is the reasoning sentence I want to add. This means that they aren't loose to be damaging furniture or carpet. This reasoning that I just added is showing my reader how my evidence supports my claim. Notice this isn't in my outline. I just added it. It came from my own brain. All right, so thinking like a writer, I'm going to go back into my notes. I told the claim. Oops, that's not the color I wanted. I told the claim. I gave a piece of evidence. I gave a piece of reasoning. Now I'm on to evidence 2. So looking here, I have they don't chew or scratch. So I'm going to go back into my draft, and I'm going to tell my reader my next piece of evidence. In addition, reptiles don't have a need to chew or scratch at things like dogs and cats do. There's my next piece of evidence. And after evidence, I can see if I check off evidence, the next thing I need to do is use more reasoning. Again, this reasoning is not in my outline. I'm using my own thinking to explain to the reader how reptiles don't chew or scratch supports the claim that they don't damage people's homes. So if I said they don't have a need to chew or scratch at things like dogs or cats do, oh, I've got an idea. So instead of scratching up your dad's special armchair, they will just hang out and relax. So that way my reader can see, oh, they're not damaging the furniture. And then back into my outline, I can check off reasoning, and I can see I need to tell evidence 3, which is about how they go to the bathroom in their terrarium, and then give a piece of reasoning that also helps explain that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to tell my third piece of evidence and give an extra piece of reasoning. So I said, finally, according to reptile author Mike Jones, reptiles do their bodily function in the terrarium instead of needing to be taken for walks or using a litter box. This is important because it means that it's a lot easier to clean up after them. So I've built this paragraph now. I have a claim, evidence and reasoning, evidence and reasoning, evidence and reasoning. And then sometimes at the end of a sentence, if I'm trying to level it up a little bit, I'll even use an extra piece of reasoning to kind of tie it all together. This is optional, but if you're looking to push yourself, you can do that. I said, overall, this adds up to a pet that won't be scratching, pooping on, or chewing up your home, since they spend most of their free time inside their glass vivarium. So this body paragraph I built using a claim from my outline. I used evidence from my outline, and after each piece of evidence, I included a sentence of reasoning from my own brain that helps explain how my evidence supports my claim. That was body paragraph 1, so if I have my notes page, I can even check it off. Done! I finished my first body paragraph. And now I'm ready to repeat this strategy with body paragraph 2, using that claim and that evidence. Notice that claim also has 3 pieces of evidence. And then after I do that, I'll do it one more time using claim 3 and the evidence from claim 3. Notice there's no reasoning in my outline. It's my job as the author to write it in when I'm doing my draft. So quickly, I'm going to imagine in a sped up fashion that I'm writing all of that evidence in. So here I go. Claim, evidence, and reasoning, evidence, reasoning, evidence, reasoning. And then I'm on to my third body paragraph. Claim, evidence, reasoning, evidence, reasoning, evidence, reasoning. So using that strategy, claim from my outline, evidence from my outline, reasoning from my brain. Evidence from my outline, reasoning from my brain. Evidence from my outline, reasoning from my brain. I have built all 3 body paragraphs. The last task over here, in fact, I'm going to check off body paragraphs. The last task is to write my conclusion. This one has a really set structure, just like the introduction does. First, I'm going to connect back to my hook. I'm going to tell my reader, remind them why they cared in the first place. Then I'm going to repeat the position statement. If possible, I'm going to try to mix up the wording a little bit, but I'm going to do my best as long as I repeat the big ideas. And then 3, I'm going to do what's called a sending. I'm going to give my reader a task, something to do or something to think about. So coming back into my draft, I'm ready to do that. My hook was all about imagining different types of pets, so I'm going to ask my reader to imagine now what it would be like to have a reptile for a pet. People usually think of dogs and cats when they imagine a pet, but perhaps you are now better able to imagine a reptile in that picture. That's my connect back to hook. Then I'm going to repeat my position statement. I can see my position statement right over here on my outline. It's the same one. I said, reptiles make really good pets because they don't damage your home, they don't cost that much, and they become connected to their humans. So that's what I'm going to say. Reptiles really do make excellent pets because they don't tear up your house like a dog will. They don't cost you an arm and a leg in food and care, and they will learn to love their owners just like any fuzzy pet will. And then the last thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to give my reader a task. What do I want them to do? So I decided to say, So, next time you head to the pet store to choose a new friend, expand your ideas and consider a reptile companion. I'm asking them to consider getting a reptile instead of just a dog or a cat. So that's your job when drafting. Once I've written my intro, all 3 body paragraphs, and a conclusion, that's my draft. Now, a lot of you are looking to make sure it's really complete. So then the next thing you would probably want to do is list your sources. These are the sources that you use to find the evidence for your article. And then also you can go up to the top at the end and consider how you want to put a title on yours. What is it you're talking about? So for me, I'm talking about how reptiles would make a great pet. So I went with the title, Reptiles, the Perfect Pet, and then put your name. I used an imaginary name because I'm making an example for you guys, but you'll use your real name so you get credit for your work. All right, that is what I am looking for from you as a writer as you draft your essay. It is a lot of work. It's not something you're going to accomplish in one day, but if you've built a strong outline and you stick with it, this is a very reasonable task, and I can't wait to see what it is you're able to write. All right, get going.